Hello. We are the Keshe Foundation. Our mission is to bring peace on Earth and join humanity with the universal community. We wish and work to bring man as equal to all beings in the universe. By teaching plasma science and technology equally to everyone, no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. By donating to us, you can help achieve this goal. keshefoundation.org/donate.
Plasma products found at keshefoundation.org/store. Soothing, reusable plasma eye and migraine mask. Eliminate eye fatigue and relieve stress in eye area. European certified medical device. Massaging plasma insoles. Bring comfort back to your feet and energize your legs. European CE certified medical device. Antiseptic plasma liquid hand soap. Promotes well-being and relaxation with protective plasma formula. CE certified. One Soul Plasma T-shirt. GAN's formula within the symbols and stripes brings mind, soul, and body into balance. European certified. Pain Relief Pen. Emits a concentrated plasma field at point of pain, efficient up to 3 centimeters below the skin. CE certified. The Magrav's Energizer and Alkalizer raises pH and energizes water through magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Pain Relief Pad, a result of years of research in nanoplasma technology with magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Visit the online store at keshefoundation.org/store. or find a distributor near you. Tax and shipping not included.
From the beginning of time, humans have always looked towards the sky for inspiration and guidance. There has been a fascination with birds, stars, gods, goddesses, and other entities which seem to exist above us, and for many humans, a strong yearning to travel into space. Man has dreamt of flight since observing space, and now it is time to become the space traveller. The future of space travel requires us to understand from where we came, to see where we are going.
Several thousand years ago, philosophers Mozi and Lu Ban from China were looking to the wind for flight. They invented kites using silk and bamboo, allowing for the later development of communication, measuring distances, testing the wind, and lifting men.
The invention of the kite brought with it the desire to fly. The first known attempts at flight were typically by leaping off towers, known as tower jumping. People in China, India, and Europe first attempted flight this way.
In 1670, Francesco Lana de Tarzi published a book that showed some interesting concepts. The concept of copper foil in a sphere with a vacuum would produce a vacuum airship. This is still not possible with today's materials. Francesco is recognized as the father of aeronautics, melding science and mathematics into aerial navigation.
The Chinese are believed to have developed the first hot air device. The Chinese lantern using hot air from a candle can take flight and was first used for signaling. The hot air balloon achieved the first human lift and advanced to what we know of as the Zeppelin.
The first attempts at flight in a heavier-than-air flying machine were made by more than just the Wright brothers. Most attempts failed. However, they were the stepping stones for what was to come later. The oldest airport, College Park, is still in operation today.
Airplanes evolved rapidly through the century, from propeller to helicopter to jet aircraft, and most of that technology is used today.
During the Second World War, Germany developed rockets that could go a limited distance. The basic rocket technology used then is still used today. The space race started with the Soviet Union and the USA in 1957 and led to many developments for the next step, the moon.
The spacecraft assigned as Apollo 11 was the first spacecraft to have landed on the moon. The space shuttle operated at tremendous cost. Burning the fuel proved to be wasteful and dangerous technology. The International Space Station, ISS, is a habitable artificial satellite that was assembled in low Earth orbit in 1998 with the use of the space shuttle. The ISS can often be seen with the naked eye from Earth.
SpaceX, as a private aerospace producer and space transportation services company, was founded in 2002 by Elon Musk with the goal of reducing space transportation costs and enabling the colonization of Mars. SpaceX reuses the first stage of their primary rocket, Falcon 9, by vertical propulsive landings. Although, up to present time, it still uses the rocket fuel burning technology. Mehran Keshe has always said, the time for burning fuels is over, but did we need to start with that technology in the first place?
Ancient cultures have suggested the use of an alternative means of transportation. With reference to possible plasma technology,
you can go to New York from Brussels within 2 to 5 minutes. And most of this 5 minutes is actually landing and getting up.
Mehran Tavakkoli Keshe was born in Iran in 1958. As the son of an X-ray engineer, he was introduced to the world of radiation and nuclear science at a very young age. In 1981, he graduated from Queen Mary, the University of London, as a nuclear engineer specialized in reactor technology system control. At that time, he developed a number of theoretical ideas related to more simple nuclear concepts and their applications. In 2002, he decided to finish the full design of his ideas about nuclear technology. This included the creation and control of gravity and energy by the use of nuclear materials in a clean and safe hydrogen reactor. Mehran Keshe introduced the concept of double magnetic fields to explain the magnetic and gravitational field of Earth.
Unknown by the existing scientific community, he wrote a number of scientific papers in 2004 and sent them for peer review, such as the creation of black holes. When one of the persons performing the peer review used his information in public, he decided to draw back his papers and to concentrate further on building prototypes.
Since the beginning of 2006, several prototypes of dynamic reactors have been built, some specifically designed to create hovering effects, similar to effects seen with magnetic levitation. Basic hovering effects have been achieved. 2007 brought the first flight test with radioactive material, in which the patents describe the process of the field interactions.
The main patent, Gravitational and Energy System, described the initial fundamental aspects of the plasma and uses. This was followed by the supplemental patent, Microplasma Reactors, where further uses and advancements were described. Mr. Keshe found himself in Iran in 2008 and was provided all the resources needed to create the first lift of a plasma reactor managed by the Iranian government. These special rotating gas reactors were used to control the plasma. To bring a deeper understanding, Mr. Keshe released the first book in 2009, The Universal Order of Creation of Matters, which contained many new concepts released to the public. This included the PMTIC plasma magnetic fields, initial fundamental plasma and plasma dilution technology used for space reactors. The plasma technology was further developed and it manifested in weight fluctuation in a controlled environment. 2010 introduced a new state of matter called GANS, an acronym for gas in nanosolid state. The GANS produces fields to be used in the operation of the spaceship. Advanced flight tests were performed in Iran with the guidance of Mr. Keshe and the newly designed systems.
Mr. Keshe tells us you can't bring all the doctors with you in space. Medical research advanced in 2010 and is still being explored daily all around the world. The Keshe Foundation has provided knowledge for dealing with many medical conditions in space.
A great example of plasma technology used for peaceful process is the capturing of the USA drone over Iran in December 2011. This drone was touted as one of the most advanced drones of its day and was caught by Iran using plasma to disrupt the communications. Plasma absorbs fields and the drone uses radio fields for piloting, a natural aspect of the plasma, a barrier of fields.
Book 2, The Structure of the Light, was released in 2011. This book brought forward the understanding of the structure of light as a cylindrical plasma where the light is in possession of all magnetic field strengths. Book 3, The Origin of the Universe, was published later in 2011. Mr. Keshe explained the further operation and interaction of different strengths of the same fields, which then leads to the creation of the universe. These 3 books bring forward a much deeper understanding of the plasma science that is applied worldwide by knowledge seekers and scientists in spaceship research and development.
There were 2 conferences to release the space technology to governments in 2012. The first international presentation in April, Keshe Foundation invited representatives of every country to the first presentation of the plasma technology. The second international presentation in September, Keshe Foundation invited the nations of the world through their ambassadors and their leaders to attend a gathering at the Keshe Foundation Center in Nenove, Belgium.
Space travel requires peace. The implementation of the plasma technology brings greater responsibility. In 2013, Mr. Keshe brought forward the World Peace Treaty. Signing of the Peace Treaty is a confirmation from yourself to your soul to act correctly in a peaceful manner.
In 2014, knowledge seekers came together from around the world to learn from Mr. Keshe, and many different experiments with reactors were performed, including improving the previously developed reactors to fit with the new knowledge, introduction of nano-coated reactors, multi-core GANS systems. The Spaceship Institute lab experiments were streamed live on the internet for all to see. SSI lab tests with reactors showed strong magnetic field pulses up to 129 Tesla and showed significant weight fluctuations. In December, an experiment was performed using reactors built by knowledge seekers from around the world. Italy, Germany, and Canada were involved in field communication tests. The tests showed that fields can interact with each other no matter the distance or time, resulting in instant communication.
In 2015, developments for space continued with different aspects of the plasma technology, such as in health, energy, and decontamination. In October of 2015, Mr. Keshe taught a popular week-long course called the Blueprint Teachings about how to build the MAGRAV power units. People from all over the world participated with building their own MAGRAV units and teaching others. With the demand of the Keshe Foundation products from all over the world, a new research center and manufacturing opened in Arizona, USA. Many developments of the technology happened in different parts of the world, and Keshe Foundation USA is no exception. John and the team started performing experiments using different sensing tools. These tools allowed the team to visualize the MAGRAV fields and to show others their interactions. With reactor formations showing positive results, partaking in the knowledge together is easier and more joyful than ever. The fun has just begun, says MT Keshe.
Mr. Keshe publicly teaches the space technology through the weekly Knowledge Seekers workshops. Plasma enthusiasts from around the world participate in gathering the knowledge and putting the puzzle together in the space race. All people, irrespective of race, nation or religion, are invited to participate in the exchange of knowledge, thus assisting humanity to live within the ethos of the universe. It is recognized that international cooperation and peace is a prerequisite for mankind to journey into deep space. Individuals and nations are invited to come together in the spirit of collaboration and unity to enable peaceful application and the use of plasma technology for space travel, food, agriculture, energy, transportation, health, and more. We are excited to release the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Blueprint to humanity.
Welcome everyone to the 249th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, November 8th, 2018. Once again, we'll be joined by Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute in this public teaching in English. I'll be your host, Rick Crammond, today. And I believe I hear Mr. Keshe in the background raring to go for today. Are you there, Mr. Keshe?
Yes, good morning, good day to you, as usual. Wherever and whenever you listen to these Knowledge Seekers programs, it is nice to be back again. Next week will be 250 Knowledge Seekers program without a stop. And if you would have learned one piece of knowledge per session, it would become about 250. It should be right in the middle of the stars, somewhere in the galaxies. But we're getting there, slowly we're developing. And interesting is that many people enjoyed and understood a lot more in the last week's presentation of the Chinese space system and the light system. A number of you have started testing. We've seen a large number of people showing their test, and they see they are going in that way. And this was the whole essence, that now you see the power you can produce, different kind of energies, and I'm looking forward to see which one of you very soon will deliver what we call energy unit, flight unit, agricultural unit, these systems. We had last week, as you remember, Dr. Claudia with us. She was presenting the case to the health sections, and interesting enough, I don't know if she is with us today, that she can explain what happened in the meeting and the presentation she did. and if she's not, I can explain to you slightly better to hear from her if she's with us. The presentation has been extremely successful, and she was the first speaker of the program immediately after the minister, and she was asked to meet the minister immediately the following day, and there's a massive progress coming through Brazil. I will let you know as it develops in the coming weeks, but the government has taken a direction in respect to the foundation's work in the health application, and we've seen this in 2 or 3 other countries. We keep very silent, and we hope that they succeed in their work. It has been a huge success and development for the Chinese Keshe Foundation in Brazil. And in so many ways, as we said, governments will open the door for us. All we have to do is to be correct and deliver the correct path of work. And we've seen Dr. Claudio has been relentlessly working day and night with a team of doctors in Brazil. A lot of people who were in around the Keshe Foundation tried to help, to support, and that's thanks to all of you in such a support, Brazil and the Spanish community and the Portuguese community, that they're supporting each other in this way. As some of you are aware, Keshe Foundation is now interfacing and interacting with governments directly. We have set out and we lay out new rules and new, what we call, terms of engagement with governments. The Keshe Foundation in teachings will come and introduce new ways, and we provide you what we call solid support that you can go in and do your work. We ask you and we request from the Keshe Foundation supporters, engage your governments. Get engaged with your governments, because in what you engage with your governments would allow the Keshe Foundation headquarters to support you and the government. There are a lot of developments in the pipeline. There are developments in the space, developments in health, developments in agriculture. And we make these available for you to submit to your government. This is part of the new structure in European nations, in African nations, South America, even United States. We see a very good balance now that the technology, enough data is collected independently that can support interface with the government. We're all ready for it. We see it as an opportunity to expand. We've seen the pleasure of some sort of balance, as we see in the American administration the past few days elections, what we call the one way has stopped, and this brings a lot of conditions for peace. It allows now with what we call the lower house carrying the majority, allows now one sense of sensibility to come back into the orders of American interaction with the rest of the world. And this helps the Keshe Foundation supporters. You will understand later on why and how as we progress. It is interesting for us in the next phase not only to show the agriculture and to show the medical application. The showing of the space technology from now until Christmas and then into New Year has to become the paramount, the majority of the work we will get engaged into. The space technology is the backbone, is what this technology was built and based on. We can discuss, we can develop, we can expand in every aspect of the space technology, because now that you have done these tests, now that you have seen the agricultural growth, now that you've seen what we call health application, we have to move to the next step of agriculture. We have to gear up to what is next. Now that we understand more about the technology, up to now with most of you, when you start talking about development of the agriculture, you have been busy with showing the waters, showing how you mix gases, and how things can develop. Just before we go on air, I was explaining to one of our knowledge seekers that what is the new development. Up to now, what you have seen, what you did, you took the gases and you put them into these containers and you um, place them or water them into the land and you grow whatever you grow. When we get involved in national level, when we get involved in um, supporting a nation with agriculture, you cannot go on land. A farmer does not go and water the land every day. He sow the seed and wait for the mercy of God if it rains. And that's all he has, nothing else. If it's a good rain day, any year he has a harvest. Otherwise, if it's bad, he'll suffer. The family suffer. Part of the new development in the Keshe Foundation is what we came here for. As you know, we are a space technology based, and Earth has a space. We have to go two ways. In the trains, kilometers away from each other, you have a lands, farming lands, maybe 200-300 square meter, you can hand water it. 2 or 3 hectares become a bit more difficult. When you go to larger sizes, it's more or less impossible. Keshe Foundation technology does not apply because you have to get a bucket and water everything. Every field has to be watered. Now we come to the real application of technology. Space development. The space energy development. What does this mean? We use the space of over the land to cultivate. If it's a rainy day, rainy year, the farmer gets harvest. But what does this harvest mean? The rain brings the water, which majority of the use to evaporate and back on the same position. But in that process, some of the nitrogen and whatever comes in gets converted back as much as possible to a protein or whatever that plant is doing. With a new space technology, we call it a space, which means we change the space, the land and above. This way, you don't need to irrigate. This way, you do not need to create a condition that you have to water. You take the job of what is the process of creation. We know plants all need protein. So one of your main condition is to create abundance of Mr. Cohen. In that process, what you actually do, you create a new environment. Different ways to do it. As you've seen in some of the tests you've done, you hang bottles. How many bottles can you hang in hectares of land? Or you create the new systems of satelliting, which you just deliver the GANs and you allow to change of the conversion. These systems, to our estimates, can cover 10-kilometer distances. Very much like the masts. You dot the land across in a way that allows you to bring in, if in so many ways, you cover everything which is vegetation. But this time, you make the availability of the amino acid. This is what the plant needs. It absorbs it, and in the process of absorption, in the interaction with the oxygen and hydrogen, it creates its own water, its own moisture. Nitrogen and carbon add to the strength of the growth, and partially in that process, amino acids are absorbed. That is why you don't need much water. So the next step in agriculture is very much change of the environment over the land at the time of harvesting. But the beauty with the new technology of the harvesting over the land is that you can change nothing to go from one seed to another. If you harvest wheat, next time you harvest cabbage, they all need the amino acid, nothing else. makes the same rain. But in that process, part of what is as part of the ground will come into play, because the minerals in the underground decide what can grow, what grow best. That's not a problem anymore, because you decide in this environment with what's in the land, you just add to what you need, and you find out it works perfectly. So you make it attached to your amino acid what the land in that area produces. You can, with this new technology, change the condition. In so many ways, you can grow wheat which never been grown wheat. You can grow seeds or roots which has never been grown. Some of you have a problem with what are we going to do? This is only when the plant is above the ground. What do we do with underground? The roots which the majority of us depend on, potatoes, onions, and the rest of it. There is no problem. There is no problem. If you remember, we just said you go above the ground. All you need to do, you bore holes. Different distances, doesn't matter what it is. The fields will interact. Your potato, the length of the land, the field of the land, what comes up. Very small amount of reactors in balls will create the condition. In the past, you soak the seeds. In the present way, you don't need to wait for anything else. You can still use the above system, but with the roots you find out boreholes are one of the most effective way. Depends on where you put your containers and the depth you cover, the area you cover. This has been done, it's amazingly effective. Changes the harvest up to 2 to 5 times. Not at all, you harvest from the top, you harvest from underneath. These are the new ways which we change the condition. This is the way those of you who are there targeting the work for change of agriculture comes to play. The space technology development. If you go a step further, what we see at this moment of time, in time of trouble, earthquakes, natural disasters, hurricanes, we see in the Caribbean, people wait for the food and medicine to arrive. Again, if you understand the process, space satelliting, very easy. It can be put on. Keshe Foundation's endeavor in the coming time to have these ready on emergency cases, as we see. By positioning satelliting reactors, we can feed people. We can deliver medicine according to what is needed. Target medicine, target delivery of energy. What we're trying to show you is the new technology development which come out of the China Keshe Foundation in cooperation with official channels. All the latest models, all the latest technologies in the space development for agriculture will be delivered to the Chinese channels, where in the time of disaster we don't need to wait. Everyone in the valleys and the hills and in the rivers and the oceans and the seas, everybody will be covered instantaneously. Again, a human being is exactly like a tree. How we created the environment that it created the protein that it could absorb, we can do the same. Injuries, infections, all can be covered. This is what the next 12 months Keshe Foundation will endeavor to deliver through proper channels of knowledge and distribution of knowledge, now that we have moved into the plasma as a space technology development. There are a number of solutions which will come through the new space technology of the Keshe Foundation. As I said, one of the biggest problems for large nations is feeding their nationals. If you need 1,000 ton of a grain to feed, let's say, 10,000 people, when we can put national space conditions in the environment, 1,000 ton will feed 1,000,000 people, because the surplus will come from the space position. Because now the food does not become essentiality, it becomes a pleasure. We can deliver medicine the same way. So in a way, we take the control through food out of the hand of nations. This is part of our nation program. Very soon we'll announce joint cooperation with nations. These kind of technologies will cover immediately. It is not the technology to come, it's the technology which is completed and will be delivered. You've seen the example of this in a very different way as a military base when the Russians on the 5th of May took the American ship by just flying over. This time we don't fly over to the ship. This time we position to feed. The technology belongs to the Keshe Foundation and we use it extremely effectively to change the course. Eradication of hunger is one of the main priorities of the Keshe Foundation, because this way nations talk. Change of the course for health application is where the nations talk. We are setting up the basis into one nation, but through collaboration with the present nations. The space technology, those of you who are in the research base, extend your research to see when you run a reactor with a new, without the motor, because the motors was a problem. You were limited to the magnetic field of the motor. With a new system which we show as a dynamic fluid, grow plants in your garden and see how it grows. Extend the fishery. Extend the animal care. You do not need to rely on feeding the man the food, as you can transfer the energy. This is how you're going to be fed in the space. We take a few kilos of potatoes just in case near Christmas the British would like to have their roast. But the knowledge is there that we can create and replicate that potato exactly as it is. But we will not carry with this process, because by delivering the energy directly to the soul of the man, to the physical position of the integration, the total mass of the body of the man, you feed and you feed. Would we have any mouth to enjoy the potato? Or do we have the emotion of it, the way it is, we absorb it, reverence of what we have? In the coming weeks, the space technology development is taking a new course, and we do it while you do it. Nothing has changed. Nothing in the direction of the knowledge has changed. Now we're going to step further. Test these systems, non-dynamic. The motors had a problem, we always knew, but you were not ready to go into the next step. Now, technology has been shown last Thursday. If you can put the light on, please, Rick, the light bulb last week. If you look at the shape of this light, the pattern of it, the way it shines, it should give you a lot of information about it. We have a light bulb in the house, we don't see these kind of performances. We have fluorescent lights, we don't see these kind of lights. We have laser beams, we don't see these kind of performances. But if you look at this light, you understand it's a new ballgame. It's a new phenomenon. It's a new understanding of the technology. And if what you have not noticed in the ball and the light of it, the size is dictated by the ball. If you can move this ball, the light shall be there like a sun. We have always energized to stop. This time we energize from inside for the environment to dictate. Reversing in the way, going to the center, to the soul, the way we fed the soul, would allow what the light dictates. This is a natural light. In interaction with the body of the man or the plant, will give whatever the plant needs. The conversion is already done. There is no heat, but except transformation and transition of the magnetic field. With this technology, for those of you who understand, a new cycle, a new knowledge is released. Now you have enough confidence to take it over. Understand how you create not the rotation of the liquid, but the rotation of the plasma. It's the same thing. You have enough confidence that you sit between two balls and you see it helps with my pain or cancer. So these fields must be going somewhere. So these fields are in the same reactor rotating somewhere. What you have to do, especially the research centers, is using these dynamic systems with no GANs, liquid GANs, and putting them in front of each other and see what you're collecting. If you're looking for confirmation of existence. Water, vitamins, minerals. We have a long way to go. None of you up to now has managed to confirm the production of vitamins. Or, in so many ways, transfer of energy equal to vitamin as we have. Now, we need to build confidence in all of us by those who are ahead, how this energy can be transferred and how it can be absorbed. Would you stay here for a few days and see how much fatter you get? Or would you stay here and lose some weight? By gaining and losing weight in this system is very easy. Because you only take what you need. And the body, in that process, as it's taken whatever it doesn't need, it burns into itself. We have entered a new understanding, and what are the opportunities and what are the possibilities beyond your imagination? Because now we have seen with the reactors what we call the cups and the orange. Now this orange is dynamic and it carries everything, and this water is the body of the man. Be it his emotion, be it his physicality. We saw our Chinese friends drinking water for 7 months and not needing food. That's gone. It's old-fashioned. The new plasma technology feeds you hundreds of years in this place. Would you change our characters? Would you change our behavior? Would the elevation of the soul of the man change the color of your eye? All possibility. Would we eradicate inherited diseases, genetic defects? All can be done now. Because we can put in order the basis of the structure of the man DNA and RNA. Because we have a system in balance and can feed both. RNA carries the electrical magnetic field, what we call electromagnetic field, on the matter state, but in the plasma condition of plasmatic field of all the information of everything which the molecules and the cells of the body of the man needs to produce. We can correct it, we can add to it, and it will change. We showed you last week new reactors. We are holding back, maybe next week, maybe the week after. We release more information. We are waiting for a couple of people and a few groups who are testing to catch up. As they say, if you don't want to be a tomato, you need to catch up. And so, in that process, we need to understand. This needs time to digest. There's no use ransacking and running so fast just that we know more. We've known this all the time for thousands of years. Now, research centers and individuals who are working start creating the condition. We need that time, we need that gap for you to set up, and then we go. We allow more expansion in knowledge, but we have to be able to understand and see the knowledge to gain the belief that it works and is there. Any questions after that?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Second here we have.
This is Moshfek. I have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned these two reactors that can change us in whatever way we want. If instead of two reactors, I have one plasma reactor, field plasma reactor, and another is my soul or my emotion. And between the two, the same thing should be possible as well.
Who said that? Do you want to feed the reactor, or do you want to get fed by the reactor? Or do you want to find a balance in respect to what is in the reactor? How far is that reactor from you? How close are you to it? Because positioning changes the ratio.
So can I interact with the plasma reactor using my soul to adjust the field at different locations, depending on where I am located as well?
Course you can. Of course, you can carry a reactor with you in your pocket when you feel hungry, you feel your soul and feel your body. It'll be done. These things are not theory anymore.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. But be careful what you put in your reactor as a mixture. Huh?
Mr. Keshe, I could show that video if you like of the lighting reactor.
You want me to stop sharing? Where have we gone? Okay.
Okay.
Number of people are testing these reactors. You put all these reactors and this dynamic system, these balls, and there are different versions of it. They are developing different versions of it. We have others who have achieved the same since last week. I've seen a number of people. You see this slide. If you freeze it somewhere, please. It's a strange light. It doesn't light up its surrounding as such. The boundary stays within the guns, within the ball, and it covers to the edge of the ball. Just stop 1 second and have a look at it. Let it play and look at the shadows on the table. Let it play. shadows don't change that much. Where with the normal light, we get a different proposition. You have to reach a point of saturation. People are using different ways. I've seen people sticking two wires right in the middle. I've seen people who stick the wires distance and they're trying to create a jump inside. Everybody is doing it, but now you have seen what it is. The shape of the light, the color of the light. These are all different property in magnetic fields. It's an unusual picture, very unusual. It's a plasmatic. Now, if our, what I call, you're an apple, I can show you something. I can use this here. Stop, please. Just stop it somewhere. Yeah. Now you see this field. If our people now use the understanding of rotation, now is different game. At the moment, as they see it, the light coming this way and that way. But if you can make a system that the light rotates, the field rotates, now you create field interaction. Those of you who are in this game, I have explained to you in the past week how you can do it with development. You have to be able to rotate your plasma. At the moment this plasma rotates in this way. We need to get a dynamic system plasma that is very, very simple. I explain to you where the new game comes in. The new game changes to this. This is something which you never considered. With the dynamic reactors, the rotation of the motor enforced rotation in that direction. With the new plasma technology, which you have no motor, but you enhance the motion of the fields, the game is different. Much, much different. And if you manage to create such a condition, you'll find out something very interesting will happen. You enforce the creation of the soul. You enforce the creation of principal matter. And in that point, when you do, the principal matter will take over and goes beyond the boundary of the light. Then this thing has to interact with the interaction of the field of the base, which is the Earth. The way you see this light is very a small rotation, but the interaction of the field charges. Now you understand. It's very much like a tornado which tries to find its center, and the center absorbs enough energy from all the plasmas that it breaks open, opens its skin. You achieve love beyond boundary, you achieve lift and motion. And then you dictate how much of this energy you allow to come out, to what distance to create. You saw last week. Can you go to the other one where you see the dynamic flow, please?
Okay.
If you look, the condition of the fluid, now you are sure the plasma field is dynamic. Now you have two choices. Fill up the whole container with liquid, or find a way to create a dynamic plasma fields without liquid, and then you have to find a way to create two-directional motion. Why two-directional motion? Because it's very simple. in the universe, opposite to what you lot have taught. You see, the motion here, you will see, you watch, is in this direction. If you fill it up this way, might go here. And then what you might see, you need this, and you need to create that. When you see, go back to education knowledge we had, and this is what we call our eyes fools us in a way, is this, that if you look, the fields are in two ways. In every direction. Now you understand. This will match up with this. This will match up with this. This will match up with this, and this will match up with that. And in some parts in the same line, and some parts in opposite. Then you understand the creation of gravitational magnetic field, why Earth has gravity balanced more or less everywhere. Even though it's not balanced, if you look at the gravitational magnetic field report, daily report, you will understand that a lot of these things change very, very rapidly. But with your technology, you can achieve, because you have predetermined all the characteristics. You see the rotation. When you take the liquid away, still with the same rotation. But how you rotate it, it dictates the span it's going to come. You need the tool to be able to create motion and lift and protection. As you don't have any more motors, and you can control this in a very simple way by the fields from the other systems, as they say in English, Bob your uncle, you can do it like. Creation of this motion without a motor is one of the biggest achievements of the universe. In a way, what's going to happen if you understand, if you explain it scientifically, this is what happens. Compactness of energy creates ratio. And in that way, this will turn in. And in that way, this turns in. So it creates a vortex of fields inside. Very simple. So in the next few weeks, those of you who are trying, you will find very soon you can control this. You haven't reached the point of testing that something very strange will going to happen to some of you, and I'll be interested to see how far any of you can take it when it happens to you. In creation of the envelope of fields, accidentally you find yourself to be in the center of the fields. I wonder how will you react? Even though you're standing outside, but the field is so strong that you become part of its center core, centerland. But what's going to happen to those of you who get to this point, you will see with the vision of the soul of the man, not with the vision of the eye of the man. Everything changes. Because the physicality, instead of being at the boundary of you, now has moved to the boundary of outside. You are part of inside. You are part of the fields. Confirmation of physicality of existence does not exist because it creates a lot of confusion. The reason I teach you these things is some of you very soon, as I see in some of the videos, are about to get there, but you don't know what you're walking into. Those of you who work on these dynamic systems or at home, you bought yourself a ping pong ball, as I've seen some people are doing because they think they can do it. It's fantastic what you're doing. We can do very, very simple works. Some people say, how can I need a spherical ball. You need nothing. Absolutely. Walk to a hardware shop, buy yourself a ping pong ball, buy yourself, if you can, a syringe, the ones you do filling up cakes or you get it for injection. Fill in the gases you want in a cup, extract some, inject into the ball, and empty the ball. Then you have to understand how to create a condition of dynamic flow in these balls. Very simple. Don't forget, you still finished with the matter state. You move into nano state and connect yourself to some small battery, but try to create a boost in the battery. And then you will see the light will come on. Slowly, slowly, slowly it builds up. But bring the battery to be as close as possible to the ball, because the ball will feed the battery. Not by the connection, but by the field which is coming out of it. There we are. You got yourself a dynamic ball. Cost a few cents. And then you can start testing. Put them in the house and see if the obesity of the child goes away because he takes what he needs, he doesn't feel hungry. The whole structure of the physicality of the man depends on different strength of amino acids. Very simple. Create that condition of amino acid. Go back to the principles as we said, and create a dynamic field flow, availability of the energy at the point of conversion. In a way, you become the center of the energy yourself and you take what you need. Dynamic system with a gradient of strength is the key to operation of the motion in the universe. So it should be easy for me. Any other question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. I'll remind the attendees that they can put their hand up and we can promote you to a panelist so you can speak. And we have quite a few panelists here as well. If you want to open your microphone and or put your hand up, depending. And we have a couple of questions from the live stream chat. There's one question, can Yemen or Palestine be a testing ground for peace and food delivery, or food and peace delivery? Vernie had answered that any place on the planet can use the technology for food and agriculture and peace. Technology is given freely for everyone to use or implement, he says.
You got to understand a simple principle. This technology doesn't know race, color, or religion. It feeds the wheat, the same system feeds the tomatoes, the same technology feeds the apple and the orange. Do you think man is any different in respect to color, faith, and religion? The situation with Palestine needs a little bit more of growing up by a small nation called Israel. And with what we've seen in the elections of this week, they lost a very big support. And the same with other places. Political wars by the name of the religion and race will soon be over. I wonder if we can make systems that doesn't allow any Jew to become intelligent anymore. Which is very easy. They're not very intelligent people, they pretend to be. And the bigger waffle they make, the bigger bluff they make. The example of it is what we call Einstein. The biggest rubbish ever in the world of science written by the way, because he was a Jew, they made him a hero. And he's actually a zero from scientific point of view. Do not worry about the Palestine or the other places. I'm more worried what the man will do in the space. In a very short time, man will be forced to unite it. You will see it. We see the pattern coming up. As many of you start testing, many others will start testing. The Keshe Foundation teaching and technology soon, much sooner than you think, will be part of national government's strategy. Feeding, health, energy, space, everything else. The biggest problem will be how to keep people busy. When you don't feel hungry, and when you're not sick, and you have learned, even with what you see in front of you, how to make a safe shelter. I wonder how many of you are going to be slave to imaginary money. We are uprooting this condition of man has created himself valuing everything. And it's coming up very, very rapidly. You knowledge seekers have done jobs without you knowing that it has changed the course of humanity, and you are working on it. You're very nicely working on it. Just keep at it, develop it, move from the way you moved. You're like a bunch of opposition we have to win the vote of. You're like what I call the left wing, we have to make you to the middle ground, and the same bunch of right wing, we have to bring you to the middle ground, that you're all happy with what you got and what you get. We had to push you from dynamic nuclear into ganses, and then the cores, and then the cores, and everything else. And every time somebody's microphone is open. A lot of you kicked and shouted and howled every time we moved, but I promise you after this, you're not moving anymore. This is as much as the intelligence of man can understand, more or less, from the work of the universe. universe. There's much more beyond it. I promise you for next few weeks I will not change anything. But if you can go through this process of what you believed, you took the water and changed your headache, you took the water and you cleaned the water with it, or you did something with the energy or whatever, now believe in the dimension of your own soul. And then you interact with it and see what comes up. I go back to what Mashwak said. Maybe as I said, I've taught this before, now you understand what it is. I'm going to take over the screen, Rick. This is going to be very interesting for Mashwak. This is done by many races in the space, but you will understand the reason why I bring it up. He speaks about the soul of the man and another single react. I said to him, depends how far you move closer or further from me. This is the soul of Mashwak. Very happy chap. You notice the way the legs stand? Shows happiness is dancing. And then you have this dynamic reactor. Again, plasmatic. Let Mashwak move his hand here, or his hand here. You remember a long time ago I spoke, when we were in training and thereon, that you can put your hand out and take what you like. Now you understand. This is the earth and this is the sun. Interaction of the field of the man creates different conditions. If you understand this, you want water, you have water. Because you get the emotion of the water. You want gold, you collect gold. Emotionally rich too. Now you understand where the technology is going. Very simple. We are reaching a point for man to be ready to be in space. And always said, how are you going to feed yourself if you're the last man standing? Are you a solitary animal? You want to be on your own? Or do you understand the process of what is said in Torah? Would you like to have a spare ribs? Would the dimension of the soul of man lead to creation of another, for him not lonely in space? And would you ever become the last man in space? Or would you choose some religions that you have many spare ribs? It's the will of the creation which leads to creation. You wish to die without less, you dismantle it. You wish to create, it shall be created. And it will not be illusion, but separation and creation of another dimension. And when it takes shape and form, you disconnect. Now you have your Madan. That's how life starts in many parts of the universe. In the history of the man, man has moved from villages to another and it started a new tribe. One man and one woman, they start a village, become a city. Now, if man understands, the soul of the man is creator of the both. The new village is any spot in the universe. Start with Moshfaq's game. Try to make your cups and try to see what you feel on your hand. Is it what you feel through your body and your taste and your feeling and the emotions? Don't push too much on your soul because you haven't found it still and you don't know how to react with it still.
Mr. Keshe, we have an appropriate question from Bente about this. She says, why do we have to feed the soul when going into space? I thought food is for the physicality, not the soul. Going in space, we go as the soul without the physicality?
What do you think your soul can operate without receiving? My God, you got to go back to class 1. Go to the first teaching and come back up. You have to understand that the process is what we say a magnetic gravitational field. This soul has to share, and this soul is already sharing with another one, and this soul is sharing with another one. Whatever doesn't need comes and this takes from it. What you call it, feeding or absorbing, you still need to feed. You know that song, it says goodbye loneliness? That's when you can become the creator. Then become hello happiness. If man's dimension of understanding of the technology becomes deep enough, but allowing the understanding, you can change everyone to the level of the peace. And this is what's happening now. If you leave one nation out of the equation and put them back in its place, isolate them, the rest of the humanity gradually is reaching peace point. Wherever we see a problem, amazingly, the Superman is there to rescue, to create more war to rescue. Then at the moment, the Earth has a Superman called America. But the problem is, the Superman creates his own problem to be there to rescue, to confirm his existence. The knowledge, what I try to do today is to inspire you to take a step. Part of the teaching of today and now on, we taught you enough, you've seen a lot of things, motion and everything. Now is the time to inspire you to test, to move into the next level, to move in total understanding of the new technology. Because, as I said, I stopped making things people copy. Now I teach you and inspire you to try because you're gaining enough confidence. Any other question?
Yes, we have a question from Gunther in the Q&A. Plasma light, is this similar to polar lights?
I don't know, you've seen it, what do you think? You see a mirror in the polar light? If you look at some of these lights you see in that ball, it's like a mirror. Why? Why does a light become mirror of itself? What do we know about mirror? If you look at this ball, light up ball which you have there, not only you see light, but in seconds you see the mirror of light. You see mirror reflection. That should have given you a lot of knowledge. That should have given you a lot of insight that within this there is another dynamic system, which is like a mercury in the back of the glass, but in the dynamic system. This is how, when some of you extend into space, you will get your silver spaceship, because the reflection of the lights in the back creates the illusion of the physicality on the front. This is something I think you missed in all my teachings, and I was thinking last week, shall I teach them, shall I not teach them? And then I thought, maybe they understood, but they never understand. Let's see where we go, and then maybe this answers you. This is the skin of the man. Now, what happens? The interaction of the fields in 3 is the creation of manifestation of what we call physicality. But there is a problem. Man's skin and all the structure of the man, which man has never realized, has a big problem. It surrounds itself. And in that structure of surrounding itself creates a special characteristics, which means centralization of the calcium. Now, if you go a step in a different direction, something very strange happens. This becomes the first, this becomes the second layer, now your third layer is here. But the physicality has to appear in here. The containment of the skin of the man is the creator of the internal organ of the man. This skin on the stomach level is not the same skin on the arm level. The skin on the stomach dictates not much ribs, but a lot of liquid conditioned stomach. The condition of the skin of the arm creates a center bone and the rest of it. So the skin of the man in its 3 layers, it just doesn't create the skin of the man. It's this skin now has to create something inside here. The 3 layers have it the other way as well, magnetical gravitation. But in one case, something very strange happens where now the bone structure goes out and the other parts come in. You call it the brain of the man. But at the same time allows for the calcium, which is the thinner of the self, to be existing in sporadic. But if you look, there is a very strange animal here again, called the skin of the man. This skin, through its interaction, dictates creation of the calcium outside. This skin, through interaction of layer, dictates calcium inside. So even it looks as a skin, has different gravitational magnetic fields. Where it pulls the calcium out, it holds, and when it cannot hold, the calcium rains in and becomes the seed of the brain. If man understands this, it should be very easy for you to decide if you're going to have a spaceship outside or a spaceship inside. You're going to have a solid ball outside, or you're going to have a soft interaction. This is something you could not do up to now, because if you go back and listen to most of my teachings when we speak with dynamic reactors, with the motors, I always said that the problem with the motor run reactors is the copper, is the magnetic field of the copper on the brushless or brush motors, on the magnets. You had a limitation and none of you could understand. There was a limitation in creation because that magnet, that dynamic motor which was rotating you, was dictating second, third, fourth layers outside, away, down the wire of the system. Now you got into a dynamic that doesn't exist. The game has changed. Now everything will centralize. Now those of you who work on the dynamic systems, the new systems, with the power supply, you have to move away from this gradually in a very simple way. And I know one or two people are working on that. Create the parallel system that they feed each other. Go back to understanding of my teachings. Ratio. Gradient. Many of you working on these systems, and I've seen it, we showed last week, they somehow, they went through frame by frame and they said, oh, there's a white clip there, they got something in there, is the wire. And somebody says, oh look, there's a wire hanging there. But did you see what's hanging on this end? Did you make this a ratio of 1 to 2000? Or is this in fact, this wire is here, this wire is here? You haven't gained confidence. You still need these little power generators and the sparklers to receive it, but you have it there. We taught and we keep on teaching. What about if you put your sparkler here and see what happens in this one? But I put it there, it doesn't show. It means the field is too far. Bring it a little bit closer, a little bit farther, till you see it lighting up. This is Moshvac and this is the system. Moshvac moves or the system moves. You have copper, zinc, gold, food, patience, everything else. And if you get it right, you create the fields of the emotion of happiness, satisfaction, anger, and everything else. Where would you like to move, Mr. Moshvac? From anger to happiness, or from copper to zinc and food and orange and drug? Now we can play this game, because we have moved the biggest obstacle, but you had to come through it to see it. Your bigger obstacle, and I kept on saying, no, but listen, these little beautiful motors which you rotated it hanging, this was your demise. This was the stop to your progress. And nobody listened. Listen to the teacher. Many times I said, the brush, the motors is your problem. Now you understand. Now that you've seen the dynamic rotation, and the motors are not there, this is your filtering. This is where the energy loss came into. You continuously created, but you couldn't see anything because these motors were the cause of your energy to disappear. You couldn't build it up, you were feeding it. The motor was the other channel. Now you understood the science, you take away the electron and the proton. They both happily run. Bring it a little bit closer, it goes faster. Move it a little bit further, it goes less. Now there is no limitation. Now you work on the principle of the universe, not the man's little motor. Sorry Chandin, even I love you so much, but find a new system. Sell motorless reactors. You're intelligent enough there. Now you can understand how we change, how the game has changed and how it will change. Because, very simple, it's as simple as ABC. Always say, look at the work. This is your reactor 1, this is your reactor 2. Even though it's here, small, but this needs to get a feedback on its field, otherwise we have a waste of it. The sun, the earth, mushwak, reactors. The soul of the man, the physicality. There's no difference. Now that you understand. Sun has no motor attached rotating it. Earth has no motor. So now is the soul of the man, and now is what we like. You put Saturn, smaller fields, weaker strength, you get helium and hydrogen. Come closer, Earth, dynamic, closer, stronger fields, hydrogen, nitrogen. You go closer, you get heavier elements. There's no difference. It's just that up to now we had a leakage in the system where you could not hold on to. The motors have run. The other leakage you have is your cable into the wall. Now with the system, if you understand, this is gone too. So you become universal independent system. This is the change, this is the development which we have brought in past 2-3 weeks, and you've seen it. Now you've seen the light. If you go a step further and understood the work of the soul of the man, and I just explained in a very simple way, what did we see and showed in the light? In the field interaction, the soul of the man and the physicality. Which strength you choose in the path of the energy, you call it different chakras. I call it hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon, or oxygen, or whatever. Or is it the reverse? Now you understand. Now that we have come to independent reactors, life is cheap. Now there is nothing to stop man to replicate the work of the universe. My teaching is complete. You had a problem, you had to gain the trust, you had to see the fields, you made the cores, you made the coils. Now you made the reactors. Now, what I said last time, I choose my words very carefully in my teachings, and then I go back to it and say, oh, he said that there. Listen to teaching of last week, when they were showing the ball. I said, If you pull these apart, your plasma should hold. If you have created a dynamic system in your system, you don't need a cup. You have created the light itself, because itself will feed. You leave the light shining without a container. This is your next step of development. But you will not achieve it till you create both dynamisms. It's very easy to create. If you look, we have done this in the coils. In the creation of the coils, I created this in a hidden way. The same field as it goes, the same field as it returns, in this position becomes different, and it creates a vortex. How many of you ever tried to measure fields above your maglev system? None of you. Not many of you, and you never understood that. It's a massive energy. This is the energy we are looking for, not in here. This is the, what we call the antenna. Now you can work. Many of you were puzzled last week with the hand and the paper. My friend, hand and paper. Now you understand the progress of the technology. Maybe some of you become very clever. You put a maglev system this way, and you put a maglev system here, and you put it there, and see. This creates a rotation this way, and this creates a rotation that way. And see if it shines. But does it have to shine to confirm exists rotational field? I said, and I keep on saying, now we are pushing the space technology beyond understanding of the man, but the man, the knowledge seekers have been educated enough that they can see the next step. It's time for you to move, and move very rapidly. Have enough confidence in what you've done. Have enough confidence that what you do is correct. Create emotion. If you have to confine to see it, that's your problem. But if you understand the average law of physics, gravitational magnetic field, this here should be much stronger than here. Do you need a container? Or like, you know, when you go camping, you take with you a stick and two pieces of knife, like a knife and a thing, and you rub it against each other till the sparks and the fire starts, and then you take it away when you started it. Are these two pieces of metal you have to rub till you create it without a container? Answer to you is yes. And you can create one, and when it's become independent, position it there or position it there, and then you make another one there, and then you see your spaceship star formation is complete. That's why when you look at the spaceship in the sky, you see the bright light, but you don't see no containment, because this is how they start. And they link up, and according to the strength you decide, they feed themselves. I told you I'll take you to the space technology beyond your imagination, and now you don't need to imagine, because you have it on your plate. Would it work if you mix, which you will do, and you'll be happy to see it? If you create this and then you put create this. You have both, and then you get your light, and then you strengthen it enough that you can just guide it, move the lamp, the light will shine. Alman Golden, do you need any more teaching?
No,
Are you flying yet?
I am in the lab.
Now you see how the interaction of the fields will come. This you can create a dynamic rotation. This you can create a plasmatic rotation in a flat. A combination of the teaching of past. Let's create the fields in dimension here. This create fields in this dimension. You get your space vector without containment. Oh, I forgot something. You might get some bit of gold and water around here, like we did in China. Voilà. You had your food. There is no need for physicality. But if you can increase the pressure, somebody's microphone is open. If you increase your pressure, the field reaction will take over and you will get physicality too. I can't teach you anymore. It's in your hand. And if you go and do it the right way, what you loaded up here, please change the soul of Mr. Trump. Don't take away from it because it gets worse. Just elevate it and it moves up. The biggest nation on earth has divided between color and race for the first time in the elections this year. And the poor and the rich have separated on Democrat and the other side. And now they've seen they have separated. Internal war in America is guaranteed in the coming time. And this is what we got to stop. These guys all have gone at home. Nobody will be left alive. Any other question?
Yes, we've got Arno with his hand up here. Want to go ahead, Arno?
I'm Arno. Hello, everybody. This is I see this too when many people are walking together, and when you see people going to a place to play, you see like some kind of silver dust on the floor. I think because they have some kind of feeling to go, and then they react on each other, and they create also matter. I was thinking a long time about that on the places where people are together on the mat or on a swimming pool, but 4 or 5 weeks ago, because they are in the construction site to the mosque in our neighborhood. Then I saw it because it was dirt in the beginning, and after 3 months there was laying some kind of silver dust, but it is different, like the aluminium dust you see everywhere. It's different color because they have another intention to go there. Then the color change what they create. This explains very good what Mr. Keshe tells about the interaction of fields creating matter. Yeah. Okay.
Where are you from, by any chance? You look like
I'm
Dutch.
Yeah, I'm Dutch. I'm from Holland. Born in Utrecht. I saw you one time in the VU hospital when you are doing teaching. I did not know what the foundation was. I'm now with the foundation for, I think, a year. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'm very grateful what you presented to us. Yeah, we have to cherish it. Sorry that sometimes I get wrong with words in the chat, but it is because I want to protect the knowledge. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I used to teach a lot in Holland and in Belgium.
Yeah, too bad I did not know. Because I cannot see the fields with my eyes, but I know they're there. I was touched as child. I was afraid for zinc wires because I saw also there the blue in it from the magnetic pole. And I thought always it was powered because when I was a child, it hit me one time very hard. And I always had the experience with my own microwave because I was always the one who was kicked at school, but it was not because of them. It was my own reflection. I feel them. They become like dark curves. The eyes get white, and it was just like they weren't human. And one time I had the experience. I was very happy about when an old female gives unconditionally to a boy with Down syndrome, and that feeling I had with me that the people who kicked me, they saw I was a person and talked with me. That was very weird. And then I had a very long time to achieve, to become a little bit mastering with it. And then I get a little bit greedy using it for my own. And then I stopped because when I had my son, I had to protect him and it was not there when I needed. And so on, I grow. And with your knowledge, all the new people don't have to suffer. You bring a great treasure of knowledge from all of us together. So new people have the confirmation when they have to go to that path. I'm very grateful for that. That all souls can reach now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As you know, we are a Dutch structure, and I think we are.
I think we also touch each other as child because I think our family was with your family or with your family-in-law. I don't know. When you started the space company, it is very close, but not clearly for me. Yeah, I also feel very close because I don't know. We met before and we talked to the soul. I was in your dreams with the Equinox reactor when I walk to the future in my dream. And then, yeah, it's very beautiful how we share knowledge to the soul.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The position will be in the coming time. Many of you will see new dimensions and new ways, because working with these reactors elevates. You receive energies, fields, what we call, from the systems and from the environment. We change the environment. It's very much, there's no difference between the man and a plant. What we did in China, we changed the environment. In China, in the test which will be released soon, you will see, not done by us, independent laboratories in China done the test. The average protein in the Chinese rice is somewhere between 11 to 13% gram per 100 gram. The highest ever achieved worldwide is 20 gram per 100, because the seed does not have any more room to accept protein. This is the reason. Each section has its own capacity. By creating a new environment in China for the first time, in agricultural land, and the seed being tested, we'll have more figures by tomorrow night coming out of China. We have created 20 gram, the maximum. Maximum amount of protein which the plant could absorb. No nitrogen, nothing is being given. China has never produced 20%. Laboratory conditions, the best in the world, has created 20, the maximum to fill up. We just watered for 27 days. 20 gram. What does this mean? It means the energy of the environment has transferred back into the plant. It's taken as much as it needs to take to its maximum to guarantee survival. Now, here we watered. Here we use the new space reactors. You are with it. And the soul of the man is no different than the grain of wheat. You receive energy and you elevate. And that elevation gives you an insight, new insight to understanding and seeing the strength to be fulfilled. The wars will finish. A satisfied emotionally man through the strength of his soul does not see war as a solution. Because it doesn't need to fight. It has reached the point of maturity. If we have managed to do this in China, man is not that big a problem. But up to now, you had the limitation of dynamic reactors. Now you don't have. Now you are exactly like that plant, ready to be elevated, to reach the maximum capability, capacity of the soul of the man in interaction of the environment of this planet, which creates a peaceful man. I have walked you into the path of peace. You have no way to escape. Just watch. You remember the orange and the man. The orange is too powerful and too tasty for man not to taste. You have to understand the structure of the brain of the man. This is the soul of the man. The closer the fields are to the brain, to the soul, there is less interaction. The less interaction creates a more peaceful man. The anger comes out with animal behavior sits here. When you elevate the soul, see what it covers. Even the angry animal becomes a peaceful. Because this receives more to expand. Very simple. But up to now, as I said, that thing hanging was your demise. Now this thing is free to feed them. I think if I become Picasso, I would have made a lot of money with my drawing. Nobody will understand it, all looks so fancy. Now you understand how we have come to where we are. People like Dr. Rodriguez, you don't need to change the child. Understand, elevating the soul of the child. In that process, somewhere, the strength of the field will interact with the emission of the RNA and DNA. And what is wrong will convert itself. Needs time. When you correct the strength of the RNA, the DNA will change to adapt to it. Because if you look at it, RNA and DNA are the same thing. One is much stronger than the feeds. You are strengthening this, this has to respond. And it puts everything in order. Now you understand where we are going. You came from the reactors, you made the gases and you were there. Now you got the cores and you had these motors. Now you had the dynamic square ones. You make your plasma without the containment. You energize it as much as you like. then let the sun shine. If you can do this, you have your space reactor. I'll go back to one of the teachings in Berlin. You remember the hand and the light in between? And I tell you, you leave the light. Now you understand 2 years, 3 years later down the line how the light is created. The dynamic system is the heart of the man. The emotional side of feet. Light is your oyster. Feed your child. It carries everything to feed. You don't need to feed the child. You enlighten the child. Now you know how to make non-tangible, non-physical plasma, which you can control to feed not only yourself, but it can create suns in any dimension in the universe. In a space reactor travels of the future, we go a step further, because if you understood how to create these things, it's very simple to go to the next step. You remember stronger but tighter. You create in your spaceship one which is stronger, which moves further, and your space reactor will move you into it. It's a path of travel in space. How much you made this system tighter, stronger, the further it goes, and then you match into it. And you can continuously feed this to be ahead of you. Trying to follow, it pulls you. The speed of light, nobody has ever measured the strength of the magnetic field. This is what the future stands. And this future is weeks away, not years. You learn about the two cores. Some of you should have asked, why is he suddenly teaching this to us? This creates motion. If you know how to use this, this creates motion, this. The interaction will create light and it grows to the speed of limitation. But if you know how to pull one in, one out, you create your no containment. Try. Any other question?
Mr. Keshe, I have a question. This is Bernie.
Yes.
When we elevate, or when the soul is or when we elevate the soul of the man, this is that experience that man becomes so peaceful that the experience is everything is peaceful. It is also this moment that man can travel to different places, while many, I would say travel, because you can witness a different place while your body is still in the physical. My question is this the same thing as the planets that, um, let's say Earth? You have this nitrogen, oxygen, and the closer we get to the sun, it's heavier. Uh, elements. With when the soul is, I mean, there is elevation of the soul. Does this mean that the physicality also exists in a different manner in that perspective on that level of existence?
Very much so.
Yeah, that's how I see also.
This is how our soul finds the dimension of its existence. Interesting is, in the near future, some of you will do a test, and this test will bring you a lot of shocks. When you see it for the first time, some of you deny existence, and some of you will go mentally demented with what you see. But this is part of the process of the knowledge. Some of you will deny existence, and some of you elevate to the dimension of existence. Some of you will do a test which will test you, not for you to see the test. In elevating your soul to understanding the process of creation, in creating other dimensions of the soul that you release or is released, you will come to understand something new. Let me move this somewhere else, because then you understand much easier. What will shock you is this. In respect to this, you see yourself as a man. In respect to this, you see yourself as a new creature. Many of you will go through this, because when you enter the dimension of the space, the soul of the man does not change. It's the environment which has changed. And then you wonder, am I either, or am I or? And how come I exist in both dimensions? This is what I've been teaching you for a long time. Man will change in the dimension of the environment. Now that today I've taught you the free plasma condition without containment, you understand it. It's in front of you. Would you see yourself as a man, or would you see yourself as a new creature? The soul is the same. Interaction with the environment, which creates the new dimension. This time you do not need to go to planet Zeus to see how you look. You create dimension of planet Zeus in front of you. Many of you in the labs, once you go into non-dimensional, not tangible systems, if you achieve it, you're faced with it. Is what you see is the reality, not the image. Then would you be animal behave here and peaceful here? Or would it be vice versa? Or would you feed the soul of the man to be its maximum, that he finds peace in all dimensions? I told you, I am the creator, and I can teach as much as you can understand. And it's time for man to mature. You have to understand what is about to come and what is about to be. And you have to taste it here, then when you go outside, does not become a problem. Minimum strength has to be a peaceful strength. So we need to elevate the soul of the man to be all the time at this minimum, which is the maximum at the point of peace, as I explained just a few minutes ago. Does not matter what you manifest yourself as. The process has started to make one nation out of this planet. And this is how we'll do it. It was the biggest regret to see the election results of United States in past 2 days. The color of the man put man in different position. Now the race has taken color of politics in a direct way. This has to stop. If we don't stop this very fast, we'll see the same process as Nazism in 1940s and 30s. But the teaching has to be there. You have to understand how it will affect you. How you can handle it. Can we elevate the soul of the man to the level that there shall be no religion? Because man becomes wise enough to understand the process of the creation. Does not need any false intermediaries. I promise I'll take the stones of Vatican back to Colosseum. The most important part of the teaching for past 5 years was to bring you to this point. Freedom. Freedom of the soul as it is, without a condition of tangibility. And now you have it. I could have taught this over another 5 years, but the time is right. And the men of peace are in position to do it. As I said, man will accept this technology out of fear of its demise, not out of its beauty. But I'm making it so beautiful that man will not even think about the demise. Some of you who are Jews, go and listen to One Nation, One Race, One Planet of Tuesday night, number 56. You will understand who has led you. And some of you who follow the others would understand you can give your soul, but not your physicality, because you can change your physicality. Man in the space would not wear suits and jackets and winter coats and underwear and overwear. He'll create the cover of the skin of the man through the soul of the man, that he needs no clothes. I should say sorry to Chinese clothes manufacturers and the slavery in Bangladesh for cheap clothing and cotton. There'll be no export in space. Any other question?
It's fairly quiet on the front here. There was a question in the...
A lot of people shocked.
I think so, Mr. Keshe. It's gone very quiet in all the chats, and there's no hands up or anything here. There is one question
I
that
think
was...
it's all hand down, they're surrendered.
There's one question, but you've already answered it, I think, in many ways. But it's from Patrick in the Q&A. He says, "Thank you for your teaching, but how can I capture the energy?" You were talking about the energy that's given off, but you did show bringing in another reactor, and it could sprinkle gold and water all over the place and deliver light and heat and everything else. So why would you want to capture all the things that you're being given?
Oh, you're still in the world of physicality, so we got a long way to go. You got to go and educate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The position is, when you reach the maturity of the soul, and what I've taught even in past 2 minutes, move the reactor closer and you get yourself gold. And come closer. You remember that old song? It says, "Come closer, darling, somehow I can break away." Goes back to 1970s. I'm a very old man. And so, come closer and you see. There's a beautiful song at the moment, and sometime in the chart. It says, "Come closer, I like to taste your smile." See what you can taste with the smiling at your reactor. Will it be the soul of the reactor or physicality of the reactor? And if you touch the physicality, it means you still got a long way to learn. You're still physical. Any other question?
Well, it leads me to ask, does the soul need to capture any energy, or does it sort of just go with the flow that's happening at the time?
The flow is a hippie.
It's not into capitalizing, it's just into going with the flow.
What it needs, what it gives, what it takes. Mankind from last week, as I said, has entered a new position. And we teach very, very direct. I don't think any teaching has been as direct as today and last week. You got to understand the team of Keshe Foundation researchers are part of what we call pure souls. And physicality in any dimension does not really matter. They are devoted to change. And a lot of research is done by them. They come up, they try it, they test it, and they stand all of it. One of them writes to me, "I put these things on my head, I'm getting headache. I'm afraid I might change my soul or something happens inside." But I thought the soul has already been elevated. So if I get a lot of pains in places you don't know and things come, it means there was something wrong. It's mended. The plasma technology, the beauty of it is purification of the soul of the man, which means it elevates it, it stands all the band. And that in turn will change the soul of physicality as it gives it more. Does not find solution. We'll find a new type of man on this planet with this technology. you'll find new behaviors with this technology. Can we create these suns that shine across every land that it feeds and makes man peaceful? On the other hand, when we all become peaceful, would we cultivate for hunger, or would we cultivate for purity of just doing something? Which means we don't need, and nobody can pressurize or boycott us, but we do it just because we have to keep busy. We grow the food, we leave it on the streets for people to have if they want to have the pleasure of it. This is not a fairy tale, you will see. We set out to do. In past 3-4 months, amazing amount of work has been done for the confirmation of the technology, and the government has started seeing it. The biggest problem we had was to show governments. A lot of us did a lot of research here, there, small pieces here and there. And now these small pieces are taken to governments. Governments are prepared to invest everything to change the condition of their nations. And when all the nations change to one direction, we are one nation. I'm ruling with love and not with compromise. The rule of the universe is no conflict, and we created the ground for it, and man now rules himself. You start making these non-tangible or non-containment reactors, and you will see the change on the human race inward. I'll be interested to see how many of you shine when you're walking down the street. Would it be radiation, or as the guy said once, would it be soliation? Your soul would shine like. If you go back to the teaching, I said the members of the Universal Council and the Earth Council will be recognized by their soul. Now you understand. These containers, these cores, these poles had a filter just below the strength of elevation of the man. Now you don't have any limitation. Shall we call it a day? You got a lot to think about and a lot to change.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Keshe, once again.
I hope you understand what is being taught today, and I hope you don't do it for the sake of to see what it is, but you do it for the sake of changing the background. Very well.
Keshe, it's Universal Council Polish language. Can I show something at the end just to facilitate knowledge sharing and let people know of the online resources that are available?
Yes, please.
Thank you. So as of now, both the Plasma Scientific Journal and the KF Plasma Times are available on the wiki. So if you could go into the main wiki page, you can select the category Plasma Scientific Journal, and you will see all the articles published in different issues of the KF Plasma Times, sort of organized by the month in which they were released. So we have November publications, we have October ones, September, and so on until July we started to release these Plasma Scientific Journal papers. So this is all in a textual format, so you can easily transfer this into your language wikis and translate it into your mother language. Also, because it's now text extracted from the PDFs, you can simply right-click and use your auto-translation options in your browser if you would like to translate it from the English yourself. At the same time as we have the Plasma Scientific Journal, if we go back on the main page, we have the KF Plasma Times category as well. And in here, you will see all the articles organized again by the month in which they were published. And you can see all the articles in each of the monthly issues. Again, the same in a textual format, which is easy to take by the language communities and translate into their own language wikis. So this is also to answer several emails and queries we've had about the availability of the Plasma Times and scientific journals in an easy to translate format. So this is again a message to all the language communities, but also to all the knowledge seekers to look into the wiki, and all this information is available in there. Also, what it means once it's in a wiki in a text format, you can search through the articles. So if you cannot remember which release a given article was in, you can just use whatever keyword you remember from this article in order to find this article, whether you just want to read it, whether you want to replicate the experiment and add your own observations and results into that article, or whether you are simply looking if some piece of research study was already done because perhaps you want to do this experiment yourself. So I very much encourage all the knowledge seekers and all the translators, different language communities to look into the wiki and to make use of the resources which are now available online. Thank you very much.
Can I ask you a question? I'm
Yes.
using my position as the head of the Keshe Foundation to push for something. Now that we have opened this scientific journal, and you know, something like 14 years ago, I submitted a paper to be published, and it was stolen by the eminent scientist Hawking. Would you be able to publish my paper without peer reviewing it?
Of course, this is the basic principle of the scientific journal, and there is no peer review. We can only judge.
Carry on, sorry.
No, carry on, please.
No, I have a delay time in the voice. Carry on.
Okay. So as you mentioned, that this was the vision from the beginning, that there is no peer review in this Plasma Scientific Journal. Anybody is free to publish whatever the true conditions of their own research and experiments were. There is no need to sell anything, or by selling I mean, being in line with somebody else's view. There is no peer review. It's down to the conduct of everybody's individual souls to present in truth what the result of their experiment was, and to share it with others through the medium of the Plasma Scientific Journal. So anybody with plasma science, anybody can be a scientist. You don't need titles, you don't need sophisticated equipment and so on. You just simply present what it is that you experienced for yourself, what were the results of your own experiment, your own design of the experiment, and the observations and takeaway messages that this experiment taught you. So no publication fees, no peer reviews, just pure knowledge sharing through the clarity of the soul.
I think you didn't get my message. I'm pushing my paper to be published. I want it always to be published in the journal. At least I can publish it if we can accept it. It's already in the book number 3, but it'll be nice to be seen in the journal.
Okay, I see what your message is. Yes, of course we can targeted for the next December release. We have this paper on the black hole creation and in that December release.
Thank you very much.
We'll be more than happy to accept it. Thank you.
Very much. What is interesting is the world of science has taken a new course, and many of us are respected for what we learn and what we share. And the sharing is more important than learning. And hopefully, I wish my desire is to create peace through this knowledge. And with the teaching of today, I don't go for the guns. I go for the soul of the man, and I taught you how to do it. And this is what, in so many ways, we've been looking for. To start creating the dance plasmas. The first time it's not easy, the second time it's easier. But remember one thing, you need a pulse. Or you need the variation gradient of the fields to be able to maintain even within your plasmas. Without creation of gradient, you will not achieve much. I taught you how to make the ring, flat rings, but inside each other. That's the key to your success, the same as the layer of gases. That's how you achieve it, not just by filling in one combination. And each one of the ingredients creates the wind of the plasma. I think those of you who understood the last two sentences got the key out. Thank you very much for today, and these kind of teaching takes a lot of strength out. So I'd like to thank you very much, and hopefully somebody will show a flight system or a soul.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. I think we did have one other announcement, maybe from Claudia, about a symposium in Brazil. Would you like to say something about that, Claudia, before we sign off here? I think she asked for that to be shown. I'll do a screen share of the advertisement for it at least. And then we'll sign out here.
I'm staying here. Good morning.
Ah, hello.
Hi, good morning, Claudia.
Good morning, Mr. Keshe. Good morning for us.
Would you like to tell us what damage did you did last week in your teaching?
Rui, está por aí?
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question, Claudia? What was all that shouting and dancing?
Rui?
Okay, Claudia is asking me for me to translate. I'm Rui, you see, for Portuguese language. Cláudia, estou aqui. O Sr. Keshe está a perguntar o que, antes de mais nada, o que era aquela dança que fizeram durante o congresso. Como é que era aquilo? Como é que foi?
Aquilo era chamado do presente, né?
Pode falar mais alto, Cláudia, eu estou a ouvir mal.
Aquilo era a chamada do presente estado vida, né? Porque as pessoas estão dormindo, né? Pro estado...
Ok, só um momento, eu vou traduzir devagarinho. Okay, Claudia is saying the dance was a call for be present, that's all, because people are not aware of this, like they are sleeping. Ok, Cláudia.
Foi a forma que nós encontramos para mostrar para eles que tanto o nosso corpo quanto a nossa fisicalidade tem que
Só
estar
bocadinho.
presente.
Okay, this was the way that we found out to show to them that our body, our physicality, has to be present with our soul in it. Okay, Cláudia?
E isso foi muito
Why were you
importante.
clapping hand? That's what I couldn't understand. Why was she clapping hand and shouting shit?
Porque é que
It's very
estava
nice
a
the way
bater,
she's done it, but everyone was following.
porque é que estava a bater palmas? É isso que eu queria que explique.
Sim, é exatamente. Chamada presente, estado vida.
Como é que é a chamada presente? Estado de vida, né?
Isso.
Okay, it was an exercise that it calls exactly call present state life. So this exercise enable your fields, maggraph fields, to put your soul present in the moment. This is what I understood.
What
Okay,
does the shama mean? She says shama and she claps, and everybody says shama. What does shama mean?
Chamada calls, it means exactly call. It's a call. Call, like to call someone, to call your soul in the moment, to the present. That's what it means. O senhor estava a perguntar chamada, o que é que quer dizer?
Chamada é estou aqui, estou presente.
Okay, it means, she said, it means I'm here, I'm present.
I'm present. Have you noticed I have a new name in Portuguese? It's called
chamada
Mehan.
presente.
It's I'm here, present, I'm present.
Estado vida. Okay, eu reconheço que meu corpo e a minha alma estão vida, presentes.
Okay, and then she says state life. That means I recognize that my soul and my life is present.
Okay, would you like to tell us more what happened in the conference?
Ok, Cláudio, se eu quer que digas o que é que aconteceu entretanto na conferência.
Aconteceu que nós tivemos uma grande oportunidade de ser vistos, inclusive por chefes de governo.
Só bocadinho. Okay, it happens that we had a big chance to be seen even from governors, chiefs of government in areas of health. Pode continuar.
E eles acharam tudo muito interessante.
And they found out everything very interesting. The form. Continua.
E como foi feito todo o trabalho, de como eu expus tudo sobre a tecnologia.
And everything, how it was done, the work, and how she exposed everything about the technology.
E perceberam que nós estamos num movimento novo de vida e de como chegar até as pessoas a nível de saúde.
And that we are in a new movement of life and understand the new ways to reach the people in the health.
Principalmente que nós estamos lidando com energia.
Principle because we are linked to energy, so we are connected with energy. Understand that, right? Yeah.
Depois daquela movimentação do exercício do chamada presente e do estado vida.
And then after that presentation, after the dancing of call present state life,
o campo magnético e gravitacional, inclusive do público, foi totalmente mais receptivo.
Okay, that is what I felt. Yeah, she said. Then the state of the magnetic fields and around, and even in the public that was present, it changed completely.
E nós conseguimos provar naquele momento que nós lidamos com campos.
And that way we managed to prove that we deal with the fields, magnetic fields.
E inclusive depois da apresentação,
and including after the presentation,
dos chefes do governo que estavam ali representando a saúde,
one of members of the government that was there presenting health, the health of the country, let's say,
nos chamou para uma reunião.
Did call me and me and the others that were with me for a meeting,
para eu explicar como que funcionava todo esse trabalho que eu estava fazendo.
For I explain how it function, all that work that I was doing and promoting.
E se interessou, inclusive, pelos resultados que eu apresentei lá.
And even showed interest in the results that I showed there, because the Congress was about wounded.
E houve convite para a Keshe Foundation participar de programa.
And then we got an invitation for Keshe Foundation be part of a program to be made.
Programa para a população do Brasil.
A program for the people of Brazil.
Que se chama PP.org.
Como é que se chama, Cláudia?
PP.org.
P de letra P?
É P de novo, .org.
Okay. The program, it calls P.org.
Que significa Projeto Populacional Organizacional.
Okay, it means Project for People Organization.
Que vamos poder fazer projeto que a população de massa vai ter acesso a essa terapia.
That enable us to bring to the population the effects to assess this therapy, plasma therapy, that what Dr. Claudia is doing there in Brazil.
E, inclusive, através de sindicato, de conselho federal de terapias naturais e energéticas.
Including through the Federal Council of Natural Therapies and Energetic Therapies.
A qual eu, inclusive, fui agraciada com uma carteira de terapias, né, de terapias integrativas plasmáticas.
Which she was giving to her carteira, como é que se diz carteira? A certificate that she was a doctor of therapies, integrated therapies and plasmatic.
E vamos procurar agora oficializar a terapia do plasma. Estamos nos organizando.
Gonna now to try to officialize the plasma therapy, and we are organizing ourselves to that.
E como disse o Mr. Keshe, vamos estar entrando pela porta da frente
like Mr. Keshe say, we are coming through the front door.
Com a tecnologia e mostrando tudo que ela pode fazer por nós.
So we're going to show the technology and everything that plasma technology can do for us.
Eu percebo que é uma grande responsabilidade que todos nós aqui no Brasil estamos tendo.
I understand it is a very big responsibility that all of us are having here in Brazil.
Porque nós precisamos fazer as coisas serem bem entendidas sobre a tecnologia e sobre os campos.
Because we understand that we have to teach the things that are very well understood about fields.
E fazer valer esse trabalho maravilhoso que já estamos aprendendo e fazendo há tantos anos.
And make it work and work all these things that we are doing for many years from now.
Verdadeiramente, eu não esperava uma aceitação tão grande.
Truly, I didn't expect so big acceptance of everyone in the Congress.
E, inclusive, já estou convidado oficialmente para elaborar um curso no próximo congresso ano que vem.
Including, I am already invited to elaborate a workshop for the next Congress in next year.
Onde nós vamos poder já administrar o conhecimento, né, da tecnologia para as pessoas que trabalham, inclusive, com as feridas.
Where in that workshop you're going to including the technology, and we'll work with that and with the people there for the integrate that in the wounded, because the Congress is about wounded.
Estamos muito felizes com tudo isso.
We are very happy about all of this.
Inclusive, nós estamos formando aqui uma equipe da área de saúde para termos isso com eficiência e mostrarmos um bom trabalho.
We are also including some people in the health area working with this. They are already doing for a few years, for we can show good work. So we are organizing ourselves to that.
E tenho certeza que daqui para frente nós só teremos colheitas de trabalho bem feito.
And I'm sure from now on, we are gonna get very good things for a very good job done.
Eu sou muito grata por tudo, Mr. Keshe.
I'm very grateful for everything for Mr. Keshe.
Pela confiança que ele tem no nosso trabalho, no que nós estamos fazendo por aqui.
For the confidence that he showed that he has of all our work and what we are doing here.
E acredito que vai ser uma grande conquista para o Brasil e estamos esperando a Keshe Foundation se instalar aqui para sempre em todos os níveis da saúde.
And we expecting that bring Keshe Foundation to the Brazil with the success, and they'll be here for always in the health programs.
E agradecer também a equipe da língua portuguesa, que tem desempenhado um papel maravilhoso para que isso chegue de forma consensual para todos.
And I thank also the Portuguese team that has made the work that helped to manage things going on in a peaceful way.
Graças a esse trabalho, o Brasil está tendo uma proximidade maior da tecnologia aqui.
Thanks to that work, Brazil is doing a better approach to the technology here in our country.
E o congresso foi sucesso.
And the Congress was a success.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you for ours. Thank you for that technology.
The translation was in English.
Yes. Thank you, Rui.
Nada, tudo bom.
Thank you very much. Claudia, could I ask you to submit your presentation as a paper to be published in the journal for next edition in Portuguese? And if one of the Portuguese team can translate it to be published in English as well.
Oi, Rui.
O senhor quer está a pedir para fazeres uma tradução da tua apresentação lá, ou não, ou fazeres a apresentação que fizeste lá para escreveres e que nós depois fazemos a tradução em inglês para a Fundação, para ser apresentado no jornal, a revista.
Eu mandei para ele o trabalho todo, o trabalho que foi apresentado lá, eu mandei para ele todo em inglês já, está lá no Telegram dele.
Okay, Mr. Keshe, Claudia said that she already did it in English and it's in your Telegram box.
Well, yes, but we would like you to go to her presentation, not just that, the full history about the presentation and the paper to be sent to the journal to be published. If you can send it to the journal and they publish it for you. Or I'll do it, no problem. It'll be done.
If you do it?
I'll do it. I'll send it to be published, no problem.
Ok, Cláudia, pronto. O Mr. Keshe diz que faz ele próprio e depois manda para o jornal. Era para mandar também para o jornal, mas ele diz que faz.
Sim, e aí eu posso pegar os flashes da apresentação, das melhores partes da apresentação, e vocês traduzem e mandam para ele, se ele quiser.
Tá bem, ok. Tá bom. Pode mandar para mim que eu trato disso depois.
Tá bem. A gente faz o Jorge faz um short time, né? Para poder não ficar tão longo, porque foram 30 minutos de apresentação, né?
Okay, Mr. Keshe, I was arranged here with Claudia. We're going to bring this to our team with some pictures and everything she has there. And we are going to work that in a short way, and we send it to you too.
Yeah, send it to the Keshe Foundation Journal.
Okay.
Both in the Portuguese and in
English.
Yeah.
In both, okay.
Yeah, I think something which you need. Thank you very much indeed. These things to be done. In the coming weeks, a number of publications will come through out of China. Keshe Foundation will show a number of papers which has been done in Chinese, and then it will be translated to English. One is the corn paper which we showed them by. Then there will be agricultural trial which has been carried out in the governmental agricultural fields to show the full data, scientific data that you can use it for your governments. These are very, it's not easy data to understand. It'll be the full process, how the thing was grown, and the harvest, and laboratory analysis of the harvest. What changes has been made, how it's been done, and what has been achieved. You can submit this to your agricultural committees in your governments for development. Countries like Germany and France are very much in need of increasing the harvest and these kind of things for European agricultural committees. Approach them with the data. We release it. It just takes us a couple of more weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks more, to have a full scientific data and use it to change the course, and especially German Keshe Foundation supporters and the French. You have a huge agricultural land in these countries, and increasing the harvest by doubling it or by increasing it to more than what it is without fertilizers, without pesticides, and we will get you support from governmental reports in the fishery. in north of Scotland to do with shrimps, which there is a huge loss in it. We will start submitting these papers because it'll come through official channels that you can change the need and approach your governments with the data provided. We put it in the journal that everybody can go to it and take it across to your governments. Test results, laboratory test results, what has been increased, how much has been increased. In China, in rice production, we have increased, if I'm correct, by 2.2 times the harvest. Partially the increase in harvest was that some of the plants were damaged by pests, so the harvest was lost. And in what we call, you will see it in the corn section, how even the seeds of corn are different, and how the weights are different. And next harvest, when we seed these seeds, we see what we get. Would it change the growth? Would we get a much better harvest in the next cycle? There is a growth of wheat in the most northern parts of the country, in China, in Inner Mongolia, to see if we can create two harvests. And the same if you do in other part of the world. I think in the journal we need to separate sections that people submit: agricultural papers section, medical sections, and the rest of it. And this will be very, very nice, the way we did the whole thing is just getting it structured. And what you call is in the hand of all of us. It's not just medical and applications. In the next few weeks, very soon, Keshe Foundation is going for a full trial of medical application in 4 cases in one of the major countries in the world, for it to be commercialized in public domain. This is a major breakthrough for us. The trials will start in a couple of weeks, and it's done by what you call pharmaceutical side. They have seen, they want to test it, and it'll be done, and very rapidly will change the course. This is done in the industry by one of the biggest pharmaceutical organizations in the country, and we'll follow it up. We'll let you know the data. What we ask for is that every volunteer will see what we do, that they can enter the data live every day, that we can see, and if they allow us, that we can blank the numbers, like the way Keshe Foundation works, we can go with it public, that everybody can see. We have chosen 4 trial cases. We start with 10, and then we might increase it to 40 or 100, depends how, the way we succeed. The 4 subjects has been decided is diabetic, which is epidemic, high blood pressure, wound, and old age recovery. In countries like Japan, old age and looking after old age people is breaking the back of the nation. They don't have enough young to look after the old, and they have to bring people from Philippines and Thailand and Vietnam, and they don't understand the beautiful culture of Japan, and they are causing problem for themselves. So with this way, we try to alleviate the pain of the old, that become more mobile, more energetic, helping with Alzheimer's. And these 4 cases will be, we try to do the way Keshe Foundation works with a pharmaceutical organization, to be done on internet live, that people can see it. Depends how they want to play with us, but this is my request, and I'm sure we'll see the results. We are open enough, we are strong enough to see understand success and failure and the percentage of success. And you can put people that will be on the Chinese, hopefully, channels that it can be followed. And the same with the new results. We are concentrating heavily on changing the course in China, and we are that confident that we allow such a test to happen. We don't go through doing other ways, but this is an open way. You can get your governments to look, the Ministry of Earth to look. You can put people online to understand, and very rapidly we use what we call the appropriate channels to share knowledge. This will extend into many other fields. Now that I have taught you how to make the free plasma technologies, you understand freedom is absolutely free from law. You see many stars on this picture on the screen. None of them has a core made of plastic, and none of them rotates on what I call motors. They are free, and now I have given the same knowledge of freedom to mankind. It's for time for you to make the stars to shine. Thank you very much. Beautiful day. I think I've taught for 5 years to reach such a day today, and I think it was a beautiful day to understand the freedom. And depends how man will use this knowledge from now. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Once again, this has been the 249th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, November 8th, 2018. And as always, thank you everybody for attending. And I believe Flint will have a video for us to go out with. Thank you.
Hello. We are the Keshe Foundation. Our mission is to bring peace on Earth and join humanity with the universal community. We wish and work to bring man as equal to all beings in the universe. By teaching plasma science and technology equally to everyone, no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. By donating to us, you can help achieve this goal. keshefoundation.org/donate.
Plasma products found at keshefoundation.org/store. Soothing, reusable plasma eye and migraine mask. Eliminate eye fatigue and relieve stress in eye area. European certified medical device. Massaging plasma insoles. Bring comfort back to your feet and energize your legs. European CE certified medical device. Antiseptic plasma liquid hand soap. Promotes well-being and relaxation. with protective plasma formula, CE certified. One Soul Plasma T-shirt. GAN's formula within the symbols and stripes brings mind, soul, and body into balance. European certified. Pain Relief Pen emits a concentrated plasma field at point of pain, efficient up to 3 centimeters below the skin. CE certified. The Magrav's Energizer and Alkalizer raises pH and energizes water through magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Pain Relief Pad, a result of years of research in nanoplasma technology with magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Visit the online store at keshefoundation.org/store or find a distributor near you. Tax and shipping not included.